at my clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Boruto episode 121 review. Now this episode was absolutely amazing. There's a couple of things that we do have to talk about in this episode, but of course the first thing being is that one of the biggest upgrades to this episode from the last episode was the animation. The animation in this episode was much better than the animation in the last episode. Nonetheless, the last episode was amazing in terms of the fight with Otsutsuki and Sasuke, but still in this episode they took it to a different level. Now of course, bringing in the main things that we do love were probably me talking about the first one, which is Gara. I absolutely love Gara. Not only that, an Otsutsuki member, but we were surprised with a tailed beast in Shukaku actually engaging in a fight. And not only that, Shinki stepping in to protect Gara. Now it started off with Boruto charging Urashiki for what reason, I have no idea. It's like Boruto has no sense at sometimes, and he had to have Gara looking like a single parent. So now one of the weirdest things from this episode and the last episode is the fact that Gara looks stronger than Sasuke. I mean, if these were your first two episodes of Boruto, Naruto, and Naruto Shippuden, you'd probably think that Gara was stronger, and this is definitely a very, very big problem. Not only did Gara, Shinki, and the Tail Beast objectively beat Urashiki for this battle right here, but also he had to deal with the distraction of Boruto as well, which was one of the main excuses for Sasuke pretty much losing against Urashiki. Now I do want to add, Urashiki obviously did not use the Rinnegan in this episode, which I will talk about later on in this video, but still it just looked overall like Gara put up a better fight than Sasuke. Now obviously we did not see earlier on in the fight, we did not see when Sasuke used a whole bunch of Amaterasu. We didn't see Sasuke use the Mangekyo Sharingan or his Rinnegan, so I do want to add that in as a disclaimer. But the way it looks, it just seemed like Gara was better than Sasuke. Some of you guys didn't necessarily understand the outrage of the Sasuke stance last week. You guys are probably going to start to understand why it feels like Sasuke was slighted a little bit after you guys got to see Gara versus Urashiki, but I digress from that situation. One of the biggest things that I did see in the beginning of this episode was the fact that Urashiki's rod was not able to penetrate Shinki's sand, which was absolutely insane. If you guys recall back in the Chunin exam, we seen Urashiki's rod penetrate Gara's sand like it was a hot knife slicing through butter. It was so easy, but in this situation it just bounced right off of Shinki's iron sand, and personally that's just an amazing feat from a character like Shinki. And of course there are some drawbacks to the iron sand. I'm not saying that Shinki's sand is probably better than Gara's sand. I really feel like it's a preference, because in terms of Gara's sand, it's most likely going to be a lot faster than Shinki's sand. Now the most bizarre and probably the most informational thing that we did see in this episode was obviously Shukaku, the One Tails, and it was absolutely insane. Now Shukaku actually coming out, I have to side with Gara with this. The One Tails coming out was a terrible idea, but of course we got to see the amazing Tail Beast Bomb from the One Tails. Pretty much all of it was like wind, and of course we absolutely have to point out the absolute boss of Urashiki literally standing directly in front of the Tail Beast Bomb and just absorbing majority of the blast and flying away like nothing happened, which pretty much makes me believe that his defensive abilities were that insane. And not only that, I actually had to think back and watch frame by frame to see if Urashiki was actually hit by the Tail Beast Bomb, and to me it just makes logical sense that Urashiki was actually hit, because if you guys look at this frame, he was standing directly in front of it, and if you guys look at the next couple of frames, the Tail Beast Bomb just blasted right in front of Urashiki's face. Either Urashiki is extremely fast, I mean deadly fast, or he just tanked an entire Tailed Beast Bomb. And don't get me wrong, that wouldn't necessarily be a crazy feat, mainly because two characters in the Akatsuki were literally tasked to take down a whole Tailed Beast. It wouldn't be much of a stretch for an Otsutsuki member to take down a Tailed Beast, but still, tanking a Tailed Beast Bomb is really, really impressive to me. One of the things that could have possibly happened is the fact that Urashiki probably used his Rinnegan for a split second and pretty much teleported out of the way of the blast, and that's definitely a very good possibility. But still, I think if he would have done that, they would have probably showed it to us in the actual anime. Now of course Urashiki eventually got caught. Now during this situation, I was really confused, mainly because Urashiki could have easily used his Rinnegan to probably get out of that situation. If Urashiki uses Rinnegan to teleport, he would have probably taken him plus a lot of sand into another dimension, but in that other dimension, Gara wouldn't necessarily be able to manipulate that sand, which would make Urashiki free. But Urashiki didn't necessarily do that, which probably leads to two different possibilities. One, Urashiki is probably just that cocky, and he also wants to see all the other people just scramble and pretty much cause a whole bunch of ruckus, and not only that, link up Sasuke, Naruto, and Gara to probably take them all and take all of their chakra at once. That right there is definitely a realistic possibility. But now the second possibility is, of course, the fact that Urashiki is not necessarily able to have his Rinnegan running for a very long time. So because it's not always activated, one can possibly think that Urashiki can't necessarily always have it activated, and when he does have it activated, it drains a lot of the chakra that he does have. Now, if you guys recall in the last episode when he did use his Rinnegan, it happened directly after he stole Sasuke's chakra. Now, I do want to point out, Sasuke has an abundance of chakra mainly because he needs to keep up a lot of chakra to maintain his Rinnegan. So because Urashiki already used the Rinnegan once and possibly even twice, when we were talking about the possibility of Urashiki using it to evade the Tail Beast Bomb, this could possibly mean that Urashiki is just drained out of chakra. As of right now, he can't necessarily use the Rinnegan to evade the actual sealing jutsu brought on by Gara, which basically means he's screwed at this point. Now, personally, I just think that Urashiki is just that cocky. Ever since we seen him from the first episode that he was introduced into Boruto, so we understood that Urashiki had this personality that was very different from all the other Otsutsuki members out there. He was very weird, he was very quirky, but not only that, we understood he was still very strong. Now, getting off of that, focusing on the totality of the scene, I do want to say, I feel like I'm a record on replay, but this scene was just way too short for my liking. Now, I do want to say I really liked the scene. I thought the scene was very good, but still, I think that this scene could have definitely been an iconic scene. I think this whole episode could have possibly been iconic, but it was just great. Like, let's think about it. A scene with Gara and Sasuke fighting hand in hand. Like, we understand the dynamic of them two going back from the OG Naruto Part 1 when they actually fought each other in the Chunin exam. Not only that, they also fought each other in the 5 Kage Summit. Them fighting hand in hand is an iconic moment in itself, but Boruto being there, but a tailed beast being there, and also Shinki being there, and them going against a formidable foe with 2 Rinnegans and Urashiki Otsutsuki, I just felt like this had the possibility of being an iconic battle that we talk about for a very long time, but it wasn't that. Now, of course, I am sensitive to the fact that this is most likely going to be a precursor to the actual end episode where Sasuke possibly comes back and then he fights Urashiki, and that's going to possibly be the big fight. But I do want to say, an arc doesn't need one big fight. An arc can have multiple big fights, and I feel like this right here, of course, it was a big fight, but it had the possibility of being, as I said, an iconic battle. But I definitely want to know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And one of the biggest things that were actually clear to us in this episode, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are also confused about this, mainly because this was never really talked about at the end of Naruto Shippuden, and it's the question of where are all the other tailed beasts. Now, I feel like the consensus is the fact that Naruto has a lot of them sealed inside himself, and probably still to this day, I actually do think that a lot of the tailed beasts are actually still sealed inside of Naruto. But this right here sets precedent. There was a tailed beast like literally just roaming the hidden sand village. Now, of course, there's a little pot that he could jump into and be pretty much undercover, but still, this could possibly mean that there are probably other tailed beasts in other villages, probably suppressed, but also still just roaming around being a tailed beast. Now, of course, we understand that Naruto's probably not going to be the guy to make other characters Jinchuriki's, mainly because he understands the scrutiny and the backlash that comes with that. Not only that, the tailed beasts also like being free, so he's probably going to abide by a lot of people's wishes, so a lot of them might actually be free. Now, of course, the next question to ask is, does Naruto have the ability to tap into their chakra reserves if he actually needs to? This is a spoiler alert for some of you guys, but he actually did use a lava style Rasengan, so obviously Naruto still does have access to some of the tail beast chakra. It's not yet confirmed that he has access to all 9 tail beasts chakra, but still he does have some of the tail beast chakra. Now, of course, this is going to be something that we do monitor for a lot of the other episodes heading into the later episodes and also the later arcs, but still, this right here sets a precedent of a tail beast just roaming the hidden sand village, just roaming the whole Naruto verse. But one of the last things that I do want to point out is that this might actually be a one-off, mainly because Naruto not only trusts Gara, but also Gara and Shukaku's relationship, it's pretty much like they're best friends right now. So this right here might just be a unique circumstances, and of course we have to remember that the 8 tails is still in Killer Bee as well. Now, come to think about it, these two might actually be the only two that Naruto actually does give the leeway to have them pretty much just roaming out, mainly because Naruto has the relationship with God and Naruto has the relationship with Killer Bee, and not only that, he understands that the tailed beast and also the other 2 Jinchuriki hosts or former Jinchuriki hosts, they have a very good relationship as well. Shukaku's not going to go on a rampage and destroy the hidden sand village because he knows that his good friend Gara is the Kage of the hidden sand village. And not only that, Killer Bee understands that he has the 8 tails inside of him, and he also knows how to control the 8 tails. But one of the other big questions that we do have to have is, does Naruto have the ability to control some of their chakra? For example, can Naruto have the sailing Rasengan that we did see in the 5th Great Shinobi War, even though Shukaku is not necessarily inside of Naruto? Big pause. Personally, if I were to have a preference, I would prefer prefer a lot of the tail beasts to possibly be within Naruto mainly because there are going to be a lot of people out there that are probably going to want to take a lot of their chakra from these tail beast figures, and of course they would be safer with Naruto, as we see from right now where we're probably just saying, hey, funnel all the tail beasts to Naruto as we speak. Now, one of the other interesting things that we do have to understand is that because Urashiki is actually looking for chakra, will he eventually go after Killer B? Now, of course, Killer B already got mollywopped by Momoshiki. Killer B understands that he can't necessarily be out here fighting a lot of the Otsutsuki members, so if Killer B potentially hears the news that an Otsutsuki member is possibly back to Earth hunting tail beast, he's probably going to make a beeline to Naruto as well. That'll definitely be a very interesting thing later on in this arc, mainly because the Killer B and Naruto reunion is definitely overdue. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. But it's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
Check my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual, no high cholesterol. Where's Jenny Craig? Bitch, just get sexual.